Hi, and welcome to PostScript, coming to you from Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. I'm John Petersen from the Arlington Institute, and each episode of PostScript, we feature special speakers and presenters who come to our little town in West Virginia to talk about the transition to some aspect of the transition to this new world that we're all experiencing. We call the program Transition Talks. And we're pleased to have with us today Robert Haig Coxon and Lilly Wong, who are the Coxon Experience. And they are here for an evening concert here tonight. And tomorrow they will be 3-hour-long workshops. Robert Coxon is internationally known performer and a composer. He is most famous for his album, The Silent Path, which was an international hit. And he and Lilly operate in this space called ambient music and new age, and this interface between kind of the physical reality and other kind of dimensional life and spirit, if you will. The Coxon Experience is an interesting thing. As we were talking, Robert, and on the earlier segment that we did here, and welcome Lilly, nice to have you with us. We were talking about the fact that the two of you operate in this strange, unusual space between kind of the physical reality and the larger kind of dimensional kind of reality. And you do it in very kind of tangible ways. I mean, you do it in tangible and intangible kind of ways. Right. And so the music functions more than just for entertainment, although it's very, very warm and appealing. But it also has therapeutic kind of aspects to it. Talk a little bit about that and how that works.
After I put out my first cassette, the first thing was cassette, Crystal Silence, I was starting to get lots of feedback from people that were not just feeling better, but actually being healed. And of course, this went on and still is going on now, of thousands of testimonials of people getting healed. And I always say the music doesn't do the healing, you do your own healing, but you can only heal yourself if you're in the right state of consciousness, if your mind is in the right place. And what the music does is brings you to that level of consciousness where you can really actually visualize and see the real you, the perfect you, the one that's healthy.
Yeah, well, healing, the body has this natural ability to heal itself.
Yes, of course.
And if you get yourself kind of aligned, and there are places where just food alone will essentially, in a short period of time, kind of almost cure everything else, because what it does is get this kind of balance or the internal kind of alignment.
It's all about balance.
Yeah.
All about balance.
It's a catalyst. So what the music or the way we do it is catalyst to what I would say, as you said, your own healing. So it's like open up your own tools to be realigned with yourself so you're able to heal yourself. So to harmonize.
It's more about harmonizing than healing, because when you're in harmony and you're balanced, which what harmony is, it's balance. You are healthy. It's not like going from being sick to try to get healthier. It's going from getting rid of the sickness just by being in balance yourself and being in harmony within yourself. When your body's harmonized, then all the processes in the body, the systems will create that harmony, will create that healing, will keep you healthy.
Well, you and Lilly, Robert, together go through this very kind of multimedia kind of experience, and I want to come and talk to Lilly about that. But let me start first by asking you, you have an hour each on manifestation, right?
Right.
And on health, on the well-being, physical well-being.
Right.
and another one on longevity and length, the length
Right.
of life. Well, what's the difference between those, and what's the kind of music that makes you live longer, for instance? Or, I mean, explain how that works.
It's kind of interesting. It all has to do with when I write or channel music through for health, channel music for longevity, channel music for manifestation. It's all the same thing, but it's all different at the same time. It has to do with the intent. Now, how do I let a piece of music come through that's going to help you heal your foot, the pain that you've had in your foot for a while there, right? Well, it's through the pure intent. I don't think, well, I have to use a C major chord here and an A flat chord there. It's
Does it sound
let it
different?
happen.
I mean, if I listen to the, okay.
It should sound different because it's going to be different music. But what I really need to say is, and this is for all the young composers out there, it's not really the notes that count. It's what's behind the notes. It's the intent behind the notes.
Really?
That is putting the energy through that. And you can have cute little melodies, but if those cute little melodies don't have an intention to them, they're always going to be just cute little melodies.
So the music, if I heard a particular phrase or an amount of music, would I know if I had hung around with you guys a long time, which one was this for longevity and this one was for manifestation? What can you tell the difference?
Feel it. You will feel it. And
will I feel it or will I hear it?
You will also hear it.
You also hear it.
You also
You'll
hear
hear
it.
it.
But it's
Feel it.
also progression into it.
Can you play different kind of versions? Give us an example of what?
Sure. I want to tell you something.
Okay.
That just popped through my mind. The notes are like the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, I see.
The notes, you're hearing the notes, but what's all that other stuff that belongs to that vibrational frequency that we, like I said, the notes are the cute part. They can be the cute part, but there's so much more profoundness to the whole relationship between each note and the other note, and between each harmony. It's almost like a whole creating a grid structure of what health is.
Wow.
It's a formula. It's a mathematical
Is it different
formula.
every time?
Pardon?
I mean, is it different each time you do one of these things, or do you do the same songs over and over again?
It's a combination.
It's a combination. In the workshop itself, there are certain things that we always have, some basic things. These are profound sounds.
Yeah.
Like, as an example, the mental clarity sound. We have a mental clarity 2. We don't call it that. It's
The sequel.
The sequel. It's about quantum reality. There is that in there, but also when Lilly puts up her symbols, the sacred designs that are channeled, that go with, let's say, longevity, I will be channeling music as those slides go up there. There's a different piece every time. Why is it different instead of always the same? Because that's a different crowd that's out there. And every single person
So it's
that is
customized.
there,
It's customized.
Yeah.
it's always customized. And you could go to that workshop 10 times and it won't be the same. And you'll have 10 different experiences depending what you need that specific point in your life.
So it's not only, it's timely as well as customized and whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Wow.
And that's what makes it very powerful. And that's why
And fun for us too.
Yeah.
That's why it's like 1 hour and then there's a break. It's not like normally we do 2 hours and then have a little break,
Right.
on a regular type thing. It's that whole package there where you're only seeing the top of the iceberg.
Well, this is a fascinating thing, and I'm looking forward to having the full experience tomorrow, because this is not just music, as I say, it's multidimensional. And Lilly, what you do is you dance, but then you do a bunch of other kind of unusual things.
Yeah.
I mean, let me, for our audience, essentially suggest that if you start with the assumption that that life is more than human beings, and that all of the historical information that we have about angels and gnomes and fairies and guides or whatever else is essentially real, and everybody hasn't been making all of that up, and that there's another kind of dimensional space then that it's loaded and we're surrounded by all these things. Lilly talks to those folks. Lilly sees these people, and she brings this kind of communication and these kind of images and the information into the middle of this. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So we have to find like a name to put all this together.
Yeah.
And the name is light language.
Light language.
And light language arrived to a point where the communication with exactly what I said, it's just communication with the universe. It should be unlimited, right? And because the words, if you say eyes is eyes and that's it, right? That's our normal languages as we know. But this becomes very conceptual, which means it's a lot of meaning to what it is. So it's sound. And light language, the way I communicate it, it's in the three different forms.
So is this a real language from some Pleiadians or something, or what?
It is different languages, it's different frequencies. I would rather say that way. So there are different frequencies.
So did you make this up?
And it comes.
Yeah.
It's very interesting what you say, because a lot of people say it's so interesting because if I want to use my mind, it's not understandable. But if I open up to say, I see, it becomes coherent.
Right.
It becomes more of an understanding at the mental level. It becomes an understanding as a knowing thing.
So where did you come up with this stuff?
So it has been an evolution of it. So I started communicating with different beings, and I started really going step by step.
Did they teach you the language?
They teach you how to allow the language come through.
How to let go.
It's very similar to the music. Just he used the piano, the instrument, to let those energies come through. I let my voice let the energies come through.
Yeah.
So it's again vibration, and the beauty of it is exactly, it could be also like an art.
Right.
You know, it's like there's no. It's like when you hear also the chanting, what he was saying, you don't really need to understand what they're saying word by word. You just feel it, and somehow it makes you feel good.
It's like listening to Sanskrit for the first time, some of those chants, and you just
Exactly.
had this resonance. But what I can tell you is this is not arbitrary, because as I told you last night, I have a friend who you don't even know who in fact speaks in these kinds of languages, and the moment that I heard you talk, I said, that's the same kind of stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about.
What's very interesting about it is it's sometimes thought of as the origin of language that we have, and the origin of some of the sacred languages, the early languages, the Hebrew, Sanskrit, and Quechuan, which is the language in the Andes Mountains of the natives. Those three groups of people that speak that language, they'll come up to Lilly and say, you know, I understood what you were saying. There are There are resonances that are very close to their languages.
Yeah.
So what it is also is it becomes different qualities of them, and depending again of the group of people that are there, or if it's only a few, if it's big, it depends on what kind of energy is it. I see myself like an operator,
sure.
an old one, right? So there are different cables.
Well, can you plug in and give us an example right now?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, talk however you want to do it.
Gonna play something?
You want me to play behind you? Okay, I'm gonna put on this bit. Okay.
Nia se naya ne maya re ni maya. Omaya si ni nae naya ti la o mae. Tiria ni nae omaya si nae na om. Teleani areasa ne maya ti aleani hayanae.
Oh, that's very nice. Are you over? Are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Every time I've heard it, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I kind of got a sense of what you're communicating. You know, it's fascinating that way.
It has, again, to do with the intention. So I always know what's the intention in the moment. And when it's like 600 people,
Yeah.
then that intention becomes personal. So each of these 100 people, they're going to have different experience.
They get their own story out of it.
So it's a lot happening when there are like 600 people. It's like helping to open up the heart. So that's the big intention, and this comes through. But then it goes to a personal history. Why it's the heart closed for this person? There's a lot of reason from this dimension and other dimensions. And then the light language goes and harmonize what needs to be harmonized.
It's almost like it's a formula. It's creating the light language is also a multidimensional mathematical pattern, but beyond what we think mathematics is.
Yeah, but it's music, essentially, in a
It's
different
music.
way.
It's the same
from a
thing.
different-
It's exactly the same thing as the music.
It's very interesting because light language, you comment also on dancing. For me, light language has the three ways of manifesting. So the first one is sound. So you have the vibration. The second one is the movement, and I call that soul movements, because it's how you connect again to that universal energy, and then your body starts to move, and it creates kind of lasers. So when I move this, I'm moving the energies that are around. But it's still light language. It's just another way of manifesting. And then you've seen the other thing, what he was saying, the sacred codes. There's the geometry, the color and form manifestation of that light language.
And this is like a written language, only it's more figures and scripty and...
A lot more geometric. It's very, very geometric, but again, the qualities are different. So if we connect with an energy of Andromeda, the movement of my hand when I'm doing the drawing, which is automatic, it's very different, and it is connected with the fairy world.
It's just like different musical styles.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you say that when you connect to Andromeda, which of course is a star system that's close to us, and you connect with the fairies, then the light language is not unique to the Andromedans or to the fairies, but it is the mechanism by which you can take these inputs and translate them into a kind of universal thing.
Yeah, and how to bring it and share it. For me, it's how to be a catalyst of, and light language is here to be a catalyst of remembering more of these connections. And right now, I'm as I said, the operator. You know, it's like, okay, this person, okay, the connection is with this cable. This is with the other cable.
So how did you get started doing this? I mean, what have you
It's
always...
again remembering. It had been remembered, and it started with a separation of marriage, having everything in my life. You know, it's like having all what I was thought that life should have, like have a great husband and great job, having, you know, it's like have all that. But I say, why do I still feel a void? Why is missing? And this is how I start through the separation of a marriage, a person that I really love, and say, I got to go to find why I still have this void. And this went to one point or another and end up in a beautiful island in Mallorca, where I stopped doing everything. And I started the process of knowing myself, from experience my emotion, what my thoughts are, and at some point it just start to happen. But it was very in a progression. So I start with, suddenly I start listen to this being. I was an eagle the first time. You know,
Did you connected with?
Yes.
Like the Native Americans connecting with the eagle.
Yeah, it was the eagle. And someone recommended, it was just visually, and someone recommended, why don't you start talking? I said, okay, let's try that. And that's how
So
I
do you
started
think
communication.
I'm interested in this because, number one, the language is not unique. I mean, I've heard it
Yes.
other people. So there's some kind of linguistic
going through there.
interface in here that's
I love
kind of
that.
lingering around that you could
Yes.
plug into
Yep.
Yes.
in one way or another. And would you suggest, have you found that anybody can do this, or many people can do this
I
if
do.
they can learn how to do it or whatever?
I
if they
do.
wanted to?
I do it, and it's again, is one is the intention, and the other one is really how the more you open up, that's a knowledge that is from inside. There's not something you learn from outside. This is this remembering something that it's already there. It's remembering something that it's on reveal from
Right.
yourself. So the more you go inside, in whatever method you want to go, it is. But the truth is, in my experience, is the more you listen to it, the more you connect with the symbols, the more it's activating on you. So I have people working with me and suddenly they start speaking and they say, I want to learn. There's not a way as we have it from university or teachers, you sit and I tell you A is this, B is this, is no. Okay, let's go inside and I can be a catalyst for you to remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It happened to me
Yeah.
by being with Lily's, waking up one morning and starting to chat with her in light language.
Yeah. But but almost by definition, what you're saying is, in the same way that the music is multidimensional, that what you're doing in the way the dancing, the movement, the language, the imagery, and so on, that it too is multidimensional, and that in fact it reaches down into places that it's not this unidimensional kind of reality that language, for instance, is, that it has this deeper kind of broader meaning.
Well,
Absolutely.
That's the whole point of the
Absolutely.
workshop.
Absolutely.
Of connecting
and the
with their
combination-
multidimensionality.
And the combination of his music and my light language, because we had, it's not the first time we met, just put it that way. It's
Yeah.
it's exponential, but
Creates a
really,
gestalt effect.
So does it work?
yeah,
Does it work?
it does.
Yeah. You'll see.
How
How do I
does-
know? I mean, so
The experience, that's why we call it Coxon experience, because it's very hard to explain it.
well, somebody
You
must
have
explain
to
it. Somebody must get something
you have
good
to
out of this.
experience.
right?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, you have to
Well, what-
experience
so
it. And when the people
How
experience,
does it work?
they come out and they say, this is something and I never felt before. This is, I felt so peaceful. They have healings on this hour, and some of them, they have visual experience they never had, or
Feeling.
vibrational
Yeah.
experience they never had before.
And finally, a lot of them able to let go of the past that's been dragging them down. Just release.
But this is kind of no different. That this is art, right? This is like if you go into a gallery and you see a piece of painted art, and it is very deeply emotional and moving. In some cases, I guess people's lives get changed because
Yeah.
of the experience. But what you're doing is interesting because it's kind of this dynamic, customized, specific, multidimensional kind of approach to reaching to the all that is and making it kind of tangible.
I think it's also, for me, is when I went through my process, which was very hard, and at the beginning it's like, what's going on with me? When you reach that point of connection with the universe, it's something so unique and so, it makes me so expanded, and it makes me share it. It's like, how could I have a way of sharing this with others? And it become like my passion to do that. It's my passion to know this and to share it just because it feels so good.
Yeah.
And my life is completely changed and it feels so good.
So where's this going? I mean, what will you be doing in 2 years or 3 years? Have you thought at all about what's the next step?
Everything goes so fast. Absolutely.
I see bringing this at, we're putting together a new show, which is not a workshop. It's an actual, I wouldn't call it a concert because it's multimedia and it's also theater. that we're bringing around the world. And that all started with a piece of music. Lilly, this is when we were first together in Montreal. She came into my studio and she had just channeled some light language. And as she was doing that, a piece of music came through. And I said, let's take the intent of that light language and write English words to it.
Yeah.
And create this piece of music. And we said, this is a hit. We gotta. So we've built a concert around this, or,
so you got
or
a
an
pro,
event.
so you have a show coming up.
Yeah.
And that is where we have to end because we're out of time.
Yeah.
And it's been so nice to have you, Robert Coxon and Lilly Wong, with us here on PostScript. And I'm John Petersen, and from the Arlington Institute, and we're coming to you from Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, and we hope you'll look us up on transitiontalks.org.